race day itself.
Yeah, absolutely. It's if you're not in the show or you're questionable, it's a go day for sure today. Now, I mean, some of the sleds are in the field comfortably. They won't. They'll put the race setups in, and obviously, if you're going for that pole award, that's pretty prestigious up here. You're going to have the machine on kill for today's session. Track looks good. We're underway.
Here we go. Round number 3. Parker Race Hardware. Sioux Live 500 pole qualifying. First rider on the racetrack. It is the Grateful Meds. Polaris for Let's Go Racing. 32-year-old rider from Pitt County, Michigan. Last night's winner of the Gozing Alberici Trailer 0600 Modified Shootout feature. The number 10 is Andy Shoemaker. Andy Shoemaker aboard the number 10 machine. Right behind him, scheduled to go aboard the Energy Concepts Heating and Air Conditioning Arctic Cat for Cataract Collision Racing, 55-year-old rider from Allgray, Michigan. 12-time I-500 pole award winner, the 21 of Troy DeWald. Troy DeWald in the 21. First lap time for Shoemaker, 43.424, 43.424. Definitely got the race setup in. And right behind him is crossing the start-finish line now, the Albert Heating and Cooling Polaris or Pichet Racing, 24-year-old rider from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada. It is Colin Henderson. Colin Henderson in the 13 machine. First lap 42.718, 42.718. First lap time, and of course, gentleman currently sitting. Second, he is your reigning I-500 pole award winner aboard the Felski Farms Polaris from Mickey's Factory Racing, the 23-year-old from Allgray, Michigan, Zach DeWald. Zach DeWald's first lap was a 49.22, 40.922. Second lap for the 10. Let's Go Racing machine is a 43.214, 43.214. We'll keep the best lap from yesterday, a 42.076, 23rd quick. For Let's Go Racing Polaris. For Pichet Racing, his best lap, as soon as we find it, 43.140, 43.140, his best lap from yesterday, a 40.849. Seventh quick for the number 17, Pichet Racing machine. And for Zach DeWald, his second lap, a 46.45, 40.645. Will keep his best lap from yesterday, 39.396. Second quick for the 57 Mickey's Factory Racing Polaris. Next up on the racetrack, 2022 I-500 race winners aboard the Polaris Racing Polaris for Nelson Racing. Aboard the 48-year-old rider from Scandia, Minnesota. The 28 is Justin Tate. Justin Tate aboard the number 28. Right behind him, 2023 I-500 winners, the Tommy Bauer Excavating Polaris or Tommy Bauer Racing, 46-year-old rider from Alpena, Michigan. The 19 is Tyler Nichols. Tyler Nichols in the 19, and right behind him, the R&R Farms Polaris for R&R Racing, 31-year-old rider from Bay City, Michigan. The number 20 is Adam Wheeler.
So Tyler Nichols out on the track yesterday. Some problems with that Bauer Excavating Polaris. So had a chat this morning with the crew. They figure they got it all worked out. So we'll wait and see as he's on the track. Tyler Nichols on that Bauer number 19.
Justin Tate's first lap of 42.820, 42.820, about a second off their pace from yesterday. First lap for the Tommy Bauer Racing number 19, a 42.223, 42.223, about a second off that his lap from yesterday. First lap for Wheeler was a 41.762, 41.762. All three sled about a second off their best lap from yesterday.
Yeah, the track just a little bit different conditions here today. Some more bumps in the corner here, a little bit more than what they faced yesterday.
Justin Tate's second lap, a 43.038, 43.038. Will keep his best lap from yesterday, a 41.885. 19th quick for the 28 Nelson Racing Polaris. Tyler Nichols goes across at a 41.849, 41.849. Will keep his best lap from yesterday, a 41.218. 10th quick for the number 19 Tommy Bauer Racing Polaris, and for Adam Wheeler, a 41.234, 41.234. Will keep his best lap from yesterday, a 40.880. 9th quick for the 20 R&R Racing Polaris. John Wick III, four-time I-500 winner, the only man to do it by himself, and he did it 4 times. No one else ever in the history of planet Earth will ever accomplish that feat. John Wick III Matt Smith's going to yell at me for saying this, but you're a damn badass.
Hey, thank you, and thank you again for the opportunity to be up here in you guys' presence here. What an awesome deal for me. Man, good racing last night, and now we jump right into qualifying today, and I got chills up my back when Spanky talked about being on the bubble and not making it into the show. That's a big deal up here at the I-500. Everybody works all year round to make it into the 500, and to be on the bubble, that's one scary deal.
Oh, it certainly is. As we continue on with pole qualifying, next rider on the racetrack, it is the RCI Richter Construction Polaris for RCI Racing, 31-year-old rider from Traverse City, Michigan. The 62 is Kyle Richter. Kyle Richter in the 62, known for the RCI Racing team. They have withdrawn the number 61 sled, so they're concentrating solely on that 62 machine. And they go 42.681, 42.681. First lap time for that machine. Right behind him, here comes the Pike Distributors Polaris for Kovar Pike Racing, 38-year-old rider from Newberry, Michigan, the 34 of Danny Mackey. Danny Mackey aboard the number 34. His first lap time, 41.492. 41.492 first lap time for Mackey. And right behind him, the Rapid City Heating and Cooling Polaris for Furkey Racing, 28-year-old rider from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada, the 55 of Ryan McCaig. Ryan McCaig aboard the number 55 machine. First lap time for McCaig is a 44.180, 44.180 first lap time. Second lap time for the 62 is a 42.969, 42.969 first lap time. Second lap time. And for the 2062, their best lap yesterday, a 41.626. That'll keep them 14th for the RCI Racing Polaris. While the Kovar Pike Racing machine, a 41.613, 41.613. Their lap from yesterday, a 41.484. 12th quick for the 34 Kovar Pike Racing Polaris. And last but certainly not least, for the Furkey Racing team, a 43.365, 43.365. Will keep their best lap from yesterday, a 42.229. Currently 26 quick for the 55 Furkey Racing Polaris.
Well, John, these sleds today, some of them will have maybe made the changes and gone through their race setups here. If you're sitting pretty in the middle of the field and you realize that you're not running for the pole, you might have a race setup in there, or some of them will have their second and third riders out to get some time on this track. Your thoughts?
Yeah, 100%. That's really a luxury if you got yourself into the show safely in the prior qualifying attempts, and now you can put the race setup in and get yourself comfortable on this track with the race setup in it.
Next riders on the racetrack. First up, the Butler Excavating Ski-Doo for Town Brothers Racing. 33-year-old rider from Traverse City, Michigan. The number 2 is Matt Town. Matt Town aboard the number 2. Alongside him, one of the trio of Ullman brothers racing in that Prestige Steel and Supply Polaris for World Class Racing. 29-year-old rider from Tawas City, Michigan. The 41 is Stephen Ullman. Stephen Ullman, the 41, and right behind him, the Fly Racing Polaris for DL Racing. 43-year-old rider from Moorhead, Minnesota. The 29 is Ross Erdman. Ross Erdman aboard the number 29. First lap for Town, a 43.161, 43.161. About a second and a third off their best lap from yesterday. Here comes Stephen Ullman, who'll be riding with his brothers Scotty and Sawyer this weekend. A 43.575, 43.575 first lap time, 2.5 seconds off his pace. Definitely in race trim. And for Ross Erdman, the DL Racing Polaris, a 41.686, 41.686, about 3/4 of a second off. John Wick III, if you're solidly in the show, say top 20, you're probably going after race setup at this point, aren't you?
Yeah, 100%. Just a ton of different things you do when you switch over from qualifying to race setup. You might put a bigger windshield on your snowmobile to protect the driver for all 500 miles. You're probably going to put a little more travel into the suspension. You're maybe going to go a little bit not so lean on the jets so you don't have a problem and burn down. You want to be there at the end.
Matt Town's second lap of 43.261, 43.261 will keep his lap from yesterday. 41.892, 20th quick, the number 2 Town Brothers Racing Ski-Doo. For Stephen Ullman, his second lap is a 42.925, 42.925 will keep his best lap from yesterday, a 41.236, 11th quick for the 41 World Class Racing Polaris. And last but certainly not least, that DL Racing number 29, a 41.580, 41.580, will keep his best lap from yesterday, a 40.862, eighth quick for 29, DL Racing Polaris. Some rider changes are one thing to note. Rookies cannot qualify during Suai 500 pole qualifying. It has to be a veteran and experienced driver as we come up next on the racetrack. First up, Billy Ski is sitting and watching his sled for the first time ever. The Advanced Insulation Systems Polaris for Novak Motorsports. 25-year-old rider from Morley, Michigan. The 24 is Dakota Harris. Dakota Harris aboard the number 24. Right behind him, aboard the Vermash Brothers Racing, WV Performance Racing Polaris, the 43-year-old from Unionville, Michigan. The 44, Kevin Vermash. Kevin Vermash aboard the number 44. And right behind him, the Precision Vehicle Logistics Polaris for Hoos Racing. 28-year-old rider from Manistee, Michigan. The 67 is Jordan Carlson. Jordan Carlson, the 67. Harris first lap, 42.210, 42.210. First lap time for Harris. Here comes Vermash. Across the start-finish line. At a 42.103, 42.103. That's his best lap of the weekend. Moves above the 24th. Best lap of the weekend for the Hoos Racing team, a 41.295, 41.295. Moves them up from 13th to 12th. So some of the top 20 teams want to get that extra spot or two for Saturday's green flag.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to sit up on the grid where you can and get that clearer vision and sitting well back. 38 sleds will start on Saturday here at the I-500, so it gets pretty busy as you get further back, the rows further back.
Dakota Harris' second lap is a 41.753, 41.753. Will keep Billy Ski's lap from yesterday, a 46.36, six quick. The 24 Novak Motorsports Polaris. Second lap time for Vermash, a 42.173, 42.173. Will keep his best lap from yesterday, a 41.103, 24th quick for the 44 WV Performance Racing Polaris. And an even better lap, still 12th, a 41.257, 41.257, 12th quick now for the number 67 Hoos Racing Polaris.
Well, your fast qualifier so far after 2 rounds, James Hicks on that number 51, that sled, the second sled, the Felski Farm sponsor 2023 Polaris IQR. Right behind him, his teammate, second on the board, that Mickey's Factory sled, the 57, the Zach DeWall. That's the times that you're shooting for if you're in looking for that pole position here for Saturday's race.
Yeah, quick time of 39.215 at the moment. Next trio on the racetrack. First up, the Arctic Cat Racing Arctic Cat for Bouchard Racing, 32-year-old rider from Monoman, Minnesota. The 99 is Dylan Stevens. Dylan Stevens is the 99. Right behind him, the Auto Equipment Company Polaris for Colbus Racing. 49-year-old rider from the thriving snowmobile metropolis of Slidell, Louisiana. The number 8 of Derek Colbus. Derek Colbus more than number 8. And last but not least, the Polaris Racing Polaris for Nelson Racing. 33-year-old rider from Fergus Falls, Minnesota. The 18 is Dan Revering. Dan Revering aboard the number 18.
Always great to see that group from Louisiana there. Derek Colbus and the gang. Real nice team. Just amazing that station in Louisiana up here racing in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan.
Best lap of the weekend for the Bouchard Racing Arctic Cat. Moves them up to 15th, the 41.529, 41.529. Dylan Stevens bringing his team from 18th to 15th. Here comes the Colbus Racing Machine. First lap is a 44.492, 44.492. They got some work to do. They're sitting 36th at the moment. Well, Dan Revering's first lap, 42.355, 42.355, about a second and 3/4 off his best lap from yesterday. They're currently sitting 5th quick. Great qualifying run, early going. At the current temperature, 27 degrees here in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. It is a balmy afternoon here in Sault Ste. Marie. A 41.734, 41.734 will keep his first lap from earlier. A 41.529, 15th quick for the 99 Bouchard Racing Arctic Cat. Here comes Colbus, currently 36 at the moment. He'll stay there, 44.156, 44.156 will keep his best lap from yesterday. 43.163, 36 quick for the number 8 Colbus Racing Polaris. And for Dan Revering, a 42.513, 42.513. Best lap from yesterday was a 46.06, 5th quick for the 18 Nelson Racing Polaris.
So Now, John, just explain these fuel-injected sleds out there, the temperature. Like, it's really warm day today. The going great. The ice will be a little bit softer, so you're probably get pretty good traction. Talk about like how that affects the motor, this warmer temperature.
Yeah, they don't need as much fuel the warmer it gets outside, so that automatically adjusts the EFI. Now, I don't know what the percentage of the sleds out there that are going to run the EFI. I know there's still a lot of the guys down there are running the carburetors yet, so they're still changing the little brass jets. And so I'm going to find out that when we go down there, Spanky, and walk down the pit and talk to these guys.
Next trio at the racetrack. First up, the asphalt repair maintenance Polaris from Michael Lineberger Motorsports. 39-year-old rider from Bay City, Michigan. Number 4 is Michael Lineberger. Michael Lineberger in the 4. Right behind him, the Big State Mechanical Polaris for Team Alaska Racing. The 56-year-old from Wasilla, Alaska. Two-time I-500 winner. The 33 is Bill Wilkes. Bill Wilkes in a 33. And last but certainly not least, defending race winners, the Polaris Racing Polaris for Bunkie Racing. 29-year-old rider from Kindred, North Dakota, the 74, Taylor Bunkie. Taylor Bunkie in the number 74. How about Michael Lineberger from 39th to 28th quick, a 42, 3:53, 42.353. 28th quick for Lineberger.
That's what you're looking for. They made the move up the ladder.
First lap time for Bill Wilkes, a 43.646, 43.646, about a half second off his lap from yesterday. While Taylor Bunkie getting his first crack at the sled today, a 42.715, 42.715. Still fourth quick on his ride from yesterday. Second lap for Lineberger, slower at 42.688, 42.688. Will keep his earlier lap, 42.353. Bumps up the number 4, Michael Lineberger Motorsports Polaris, the 28th quick.
What a great feeling for that team to jump from 39th up to 28th. So all their work from yesterday to today paid off. Even though the track maybe isn't giving up as much speed as it was yesterday, so they gotta be really happy down there.
Bill Wilkes, second lap, 43.624, 43.624. Will keep his best lap from yesterday, a 43.121, 36 quick for the 33 Team Alaska Racing Polaris, and Taylor Bunkie goes a 41.782, 41.782. Will keep Aaron Christensen's lap from yesterday, which was a 40.532, fourth quick for the 74 Bunkie Racing Polaris.
We talk about these machines qualifying. Some of the teams running 2 sleds. We've already seen one team scratch one of their sleds and concentrate on that. So we might have 46, 50 machines trying to qualify, but you might have a handful of them that will scratch a sled, and that'll allow the other ones an opportunity to make that 38 starting field.
Next trio on the racetrack. First off, the Woody's Racing Products Polaris for K&E Racing. 24-year-old rider from Gatesville, Michigan. The 48 is Trevor Warner. Trevor Warner aboard the number 48 machine. Right behind him, one of the 3 Nelson Racing entries, the Polaris Racing Polaris for Nelson Racing. 21-year-old rider from Green Bay, Wisconsin. The 25, a Marshall Bussey. Marshall Bussey in the 25. And last but not least, the Edmondson Orchids Ski-Doo for Team Torture Racing. 38-year-old rider from Trufant, Michigan. The 35 of John Proctor. John Proctor aboard the number 35 machine.
I believe 2 Ski-Doos trying to qualify here. The 35 that you just seen go by, as well as the Town Brothers number 2.
First lap for K&E Racing, 42.538, 42.538, about 6/10 off. His first lap from earlier. Bussey's first lap. In that number 25, he bumps up to 13th quick, a 41.277, 41.277 from 15th to 13th for Marshall Bussey. Team Torture's on the outside looking in. They're 40th quick at the moment. Here comes that number 35. First lap time for Team Torture Racing, a 50.224, 50.224. They've got work to do, 6 seconds off their best lap from yesterday.
That Ski-Doo doesn't look to have a lot of straightaway speed, so got to make some changes there to get in the show.
Second lap for the K&E Racing Polaris, a 42.235, 42.235. Will keep their best lap from yesterday, a 42.199, 25th quick for the 48 K&E Racing Polaris for Marshall Bussey. In the 25 machine, a 41.428, 41.428. Will keep his first lap, 41.277, 13th quick for the 25 Nelson Racing Polaris. And here comes that Team Torture Racing number 35. They've got issues, 6 seconds off the pace in that first lap.
Yeah, something amiss on that Ski-Doo, so going to have to get some information from that rider pretty quick, I would think, John, and get back out there and try to make some some changes. There's going to be one more qualifying session. You have one more chance here to make the show.
He actually went quicker, a 49.563, 49.563 will keep his best lap from yesterday, a 44.035. 40th quick for the 35 Team Torture Racing Polaris. They've got some work to do in that final qualifying session to try to get in to the 56th running of the International 500 Snowmobile Race, which is coming up in just about 48 hours, boys.
Yeah, it can really be tough because you're chasing the track always. Different conditions here today, and you made some changes from yesterday, and you automatically think you went the wrong way on the changes. So, yeah, it's a tough one. It's a head scratcher for those guys trying to get in.
I think safely you'd want to be, around that in 30th position to safely think that you're maybe going to get into the show here.
Next trio on the racetrack. First up, it is the Jay's Power Center Polaris, or Jay's Power Center Racing, 38-year-old rider from Reedsburg, Wisconsin. The 02 of Jay Middlestat. Jay Middlestat in the 02, right behind him. The Hunt Tree Farm Polaris, or Brownlee Boys Racing, 29-year-old rider from Powers, Michigan. The 77 of Josh Mapes. Josh Mapes in the 77. Last but not least, one of the new teams here at the I-500 this weekend, the Labadee Auto Company Polaris for Stevenson Racing. 23-year-old rider from Auburn, Michigan. The 16 is Preston Deschano. Preston Deschano in the 16. First lap from Middlestat, a 42.776, 42.776. About a quarter second off his best lap from yesterday. Here comes Mapes, his first lap. A 42.768, 42.768, about a half second off his best lap from yesterday. As Preston Deschano comes across. His first lap, a 43.377, 43.377. First lap time for Deschano, the former IMCA modified track champion down at Tri-City Motor Speedway, runs on the dirt.
We've seen that machine run a pretty good laps there yesterday at 16. They seem to get more adjusted and better each time out. So looking for a better time here in round number 3 here.
Middlestat's best lap of the weekend, 42.497, 42.497. Moves up from 32nd to 31st for the 02 Jay's Power Center Polaris. Josh Mapes comes across, 43.096, 43.096. Will keep his best lap from yesterday, which was a 42.250, 27th quick for the number 77 Brownlee Boys Racing Polaris. And for Deschano, a 43.579, 43.579. His best lap from yesterday, a 42.400, 30th quick for the 16 Stevenson Racing Polaris.
Good look at the number 54. He'll make their way back out now in round number 3 here as they'll come out onto the track. That's the Polaris Race Team 2025 600R of Alex Hatteen.
And he'll be followed by Kyle Mailport in the 88 and Ben Lungus in the 23. We're going to meet all three of them as they make their way onto the racetrack for round 3. Parker Race Hardware. Sioux Live 500 pole qualifying ride right here on FloRacing. Your next trio on the racetrack. First up, the Polaris Racing Polaris for Hatteen Heritage Racing. 35-year-old rider from Roseville, Minnesota. The 54 is Alex Hatteen. Alex Hatteen in the 54. Right behind him, another one of the new teams here at the I-500 this weekend. The Dean Marine and Excavating Polaris from McCoy Racing. 33-year-old rider from right here in Sault Ste. Marie. The 88 is Kyle Mailport. Kyle Mailport in the 88. And last but certainly not least, the Arctic Cat Racing Arctic Cat for Lungus Racing. 29-year-old rider from Thief River Falls, Minnesota. The 23 is Ben Lungus. Ben Lungus aboard the 23.
Great conditions out here, John. The visibility superb here today, and warmer temperatures, 27 degrees, so should be no issues with visibility here today.
Kind of the weather I always hoped for race day. Yeah, visibility is beautiful. The track's got good lubrication for the slides and everything. Yeah, it looks like a pretty fast track today, really.
Hatteen's first lap, 42.963, 42.963. First lap time for Hatteen. While Mailport's first lap, a 44.268, 44.268. And Lungus' first lap, 42.219, 42.219. All of them within a half to a second off their best lap from yesterday.
Go ahead.
And for Mailport, they're on the outside looking in. They're 39th quick right now.
I just watched him go through that corner, and the handling not there on that sled. He was really working the bars on that sled through 1 and 2 here.
Hatteen's second lap, his best lap of the weekend, but still 33rd quick, a 42.614. 42.614, 33rd for the 54 Hatteen Heritage Racing Polaris. They're in, but they're not comfortable.
Yeah, I think they showed up and they're running their race setup from the start, and I think they'll be there for race day.
Mailport second lap, 44.627, 44.627, their best lap from yesterday of 43.762, 39th quick for the 88 McCoy Racing Polaris. They got work to do. While the final lap for Ben Lungus of 42.894, 42.894, their best lap from yesterday of 42.060, which is 21st quick for the 23 Lungus Racing Arctic Cat.
Now one sled out onto the track, the number 12 machine. That's the Countryside Sales and Service Polaris out for their qualifying session. Cam Vermash, Eric Churchill, and Andrew Terrell, the riders scheduled on that machine.
I see the 26 coming on, Scott Maciag.
Yes, indeed, as we continue on with qualifying. Next rider on the racetrack, as you mentioned, Spanky, it is the Countryside Sales and Service Polaris of Countryside Motorsports, 33-year-old rider from Unionville, Michigan, the 12 of Cam Vermash. Cam Vermash, the number 12, right behind him, the Maciag Sawmill Arctic Cat for Maciag Racing, 53-year-old rider from Gatesville, Michigan, the 26 of Scott Maciag. Maciag in the 26, and last but certainly not least, the Nelson Speed Shop Arctic Cat for RNS Racing, 29-year-old rider from Deer, Michigan, the 17 of Garner Cusack. Garner Cusack in the 17. And all three of these sleds will like to pick up some speed. First lap, 43.222, 43.222, about 6/10 off the lap from yesterday for the number 12 Countryside Motorsports team. Scott Maciag on the outside looking in, 41st quick at the moment. Does he improve? Not quite. 44.610. 44.610, a tenth of a second off his lap from yesterday. And how about Garner Cusack from 32nd to 21st to 41.925, 41.925. What a jump for that RNS Racing Arctic Cat.
That team's going to be very happy as Cusack's got a good, looking to be on a good second lap here. Can he even better that? We'll wait and see.
Here comes Cam Vermash, his second lap in the number 12 machine. It's a 43.635, 43.635. Will keep his best lap from yesterday, a 42.688. 34th quick for the Countryside Motorsports Polaris, number 12. Here comes Maciag trying to get in the top 38. He's going to have to wait, a 44.620, 44.620. Will keep his lap from yesterday, a 44.508. 41st quick for the 26 Maciag Racing Arctic Cat. And an even better lap, 21st quick still for the RNS Racing Arctic Cat, a 41.925, 41.925, 21st quick for the 17 RNS Racing Arctic Cat.
Awesome lap he put down there. What a big weight that's lifted off that team's shoulders. The whole team, they're going to be high-fiving, I'll bet you, Spanky.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. I was going to ask you about that, John. What's going to happen when he gets back? That's a big weight off your shoulder. You're worried. You don't sleep last night trying to figure out what you could do to that sled, and they got her comfortably into the show right there.
And pat themselves on the back. They made the right adjustments on that sled, and the driver went out there and performed.
Next riders on the racetrack. First up, the KS & Company Exteriors Polaris for Schwarz Racing. 41-year-old rider from across the bridge in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada, the 75 of Ken Schwarz. Although it looks like to be Mike Tatashore behind on the handlebars. Mike Tatashore, also 41, also from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada. Right behind him, the R&R Farms Polaris for R&R Racing. 37-year-old rider from Bay City, Michigan. The 27 is John Giffel. John Giffel, the 27, and last but not least, the Northern Crankshafts Arctic Cat, Northern Crankshafts Racing, 45-year-old rider from Zimmerman, Minnesota, the 50 of Eric Rowland. Eric Rowland in the 50.
So I'm the third member from Canada that's 41 of here on the grounds.
That's right.
Plus a couple.
Schwarz first lap, 44.404, 44.404, about a second and the third off his lap from yesterday. First lap for Giffel, a 42.748, 42.748, about 4/10 off his lap from yesterday, which is currently 30th. The Northern Crankshafts machine on the outside looking in. They're 42nd quick in the moment. He's got his hand up. First lap, 46.736, 46.736, and the hand is up on the Northern Crankshafts number 50 as he makes his way through turns 1 and 2. He's going to keep on going, though.
Wow. I thought he was going to pull that back pit side. I looked to be maybe looking down at the track or something, but he's back under power down the back chute.
Schwarz second lap, 44.140, 44.140. Will keep his first lap from yesterday at 43.102. 35th quick for the 75 Schwarz Racing Polaris. John Giffel goes a 42.607, 42.607, about 3/10 off his best lap from yesterday of 42.360. 30th quick for the 27 R&R Racing Polaris. And here comes the 50 of Eric Rowland off the pace a little bit. They're 42nd quick, so on the outside looking in. And he goes a 48.339, 48.339. His best lap from yesterday, a 45.699. 42nd quick for the number 50 Northern Crankshafts Racing Arctic Cat.
Well, we continue to look down as round number 3 of qualifying continues here at the I-500. We welcome you if you're on board FloVision here and enjoying the races up in the Sioux. An absolute beautiful day. Qualifying session number 3 just almost in the books here. We got a few more sleds.
You know, Spanky, I sit here up in the booth with you and Matt here, and I'm wearing my Snowmobile Hall of Fame sweatshirt. And my thought was that picture that we all saw of Todd Cricky and Zach DeWald, that I can anticipate those two going into the Hall of Fame here in the coming years.
Well, I got to tell you what, I'm wearing my Hall of Fame shirt right here. I got my John Wick shirt on here
That's
today.
Right.
Look at that, the number 52.
I wore mine yesterday.
Yes, you did. That's why we had to both take our turn and honor this gentleman.
First laps of the weekend for the Northern Services and Cleanup Arctic Cat for Ritchie Racing. 39-year-old rider from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada. The 79 of Jake Ritchie. Jake Ritchie in the 79 making his first laps of the weekend. Right behind him, the Jay's Power Center Polaris or Jay's Power Center Racing. 33-year-old rider from Bozeman, Montana. The 97 of Bobby Menny. Bobby Menny, the 97, and right behind him, the Royal Electric Polaris for Ironman Racing. 44 years old from right here in Sault Ste. Marie, the 52 of James Kay. James Kay in the 52 machine. Jake Ritchie didn't get here till this morning. Did miss the first 2 sessions. Not bad first lap, a 44.842, 44.842 at 42nd quick. Bobby Menny's first lap, a 42.485, 42.485, about a second and 6/10 off his lap from yesterday. James Kay's trying to get in. They're 44th quick at the moment. Their best lap yesterday at 46.107. Here comes Kay. They battled mechanical problems all weekend long, and they're still battling them. A 46.531, 46.531.
You talk about Jake Ritchie quickly. His grandfather, the first Canadian team to win here at the I-500, Ted Ritchie involved on that, so it's in his blood racing here. His dad and now young Jake on the sled.
Ritchie's second lap, 39th quick, a 43.656, 43.656, 39th quick for the 79 Ritchie Racing Arctic Cat. While for the 97 of Bobby Menny, a 42.163, 42.163 will keep his best lap from yesterday, a 41.808. 18th quick for the 97 Jay's Power Center Polaris. And here comes the 52 of James Kay, trying to get to that coveted top 38. He sits 44th at the moment. He'll stay there. 47.025, 47.025. His best lap from yesterday, a 46.107, 44th quick for the 52 Ironman Racing Polaris. They have work to do for that final qualifying session later tonight. Last group getting ready to roll out. And you'll notice your fast qualifier on the provisional pole at the moment, James Hicks,
has not made his way
out as of yet.
Well, I don't think we'll see that one. That one's still sitting in the number 1 spot, so I don't think the track's as fast today here. We've seen the runs. We've seen some improvements from some machines, but on a whole, the time's not quicker here in session number 3.
Next trio on the racetrack. First up, the Arctic Cat Racing Arctic Cat for HC Racing. 28-year-old rider from Eagle River, Wisconsin. 2018 I-500 winner, Zach Herfindahl. Zach Herfindahl in the 32. Right behind him, it is the second Albert Hegan Cooling Polaris for Pichet Racing. It is the 25-year-old from Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, the 132 of Drake McCullough. Drake McCullough in the 132. And last but not least, missed his qualifying spot, which was number 1. You wouldn't think you'd want to miss the first qualifying spot. 12-time I-500 pole winner. Energy Concepts Heating and Air Conditioning Arctic Cat for Cataract Collision Racing, the 55-year-old from All Great, Michigan. It is Troy DeWald. Troy DeWald in the number 21. Herfindahl's first lap. As soon as we find it. The glare is messing with me. 43.290, 43.290 first lap time. First lap time for the 132. We'll find it, I swear. 42.052, 42.052 first lap time. While the first lap for DeWald in the number 21 is a 42.759, 42.759, about 2.5 seconds off his lap from yesterday. Second lap for Herfindahl, 42.895, 42.895. So he'll keep his best lap from yesterday of 42.064, 23rd quick for the 32 HC Racing Arctic Cat. While McCullough, 42.160, 42.160 will keep the first lap from yesterday of 41.657, 17th quick for the 132 PCA Racing Polaris. And for DeWald, a 42.276, 42.276 will keep his best lap from yesterday of 40.282, third quick for the 21 Cataract Collision Racing Arctic Cat.
Well, one would think the race setup maybe in that one, that sled late getting to the line, so maybe some final work going on in that Cataract trailer and on that machine, the 21 of DeWald there, and maybe just running in that race setup, getting some information for the setup for Saturday.
Yeah, getting it comfortable for the 500 miles, I would say. Just driver comfort, and I would always like to loosen the sled up a tad too from qualifying to the 500, so to make sure that you got a loose sled throughout the 500 miles.
So James Hicks did not come out to play in round number 3 for the Parker Ace Hardware CY 500 pole qualifying. He remains on the provisional pole with his best lap of yesterday of 39.215. Nothing changed in the top 5. Second quick, the 39.396 for the 57 Mickey's Factory Racing Polaris of Zach DeWald. Third quick, a 40.282 for the 21 Cataract Collision Racing Arctic Cat of Troy DeWald. Fourth quick, a 40.532 for the 74 Bunky Racing Polaris of Aaron Christensen. All these laps are from yesterday, and they've remained in the top 5. Rounding out the top 5, the 40.606 for the 18 Nelson Racing Polaris of Dan Revering.
Spots 6 through 10, we'll run them down for you here. The Novak Motorsports Polaris, Billy Ski currently 6th on the board. PCA Racing number 13, 7th on the board. The 29 DL Racing Polaris, 8th on the board. The number 20 R&R Racing Polaris, 9th on the board. Rounding out the top 10, the champions from Eagle River, the 19 Tommy Bauer Racing Polaris. That is your top 10 here after 3 rounds of qualifying here at the I-500. Well, John, your thoughts on the qualifying round?
I think successful qualifying for a lot of those teams. We've seen a lot of them bump up and get in the safe zone, but at the same time, I imagine that pushed a few of the teams down the other direction, put some more heat on them.
I pose this question. Us 3 were pretty knowledgeable, right? That's fair to say.
Very fair.
Mickey's Factory Racing is number 1 and 2. They're going to only run one sled. Which sled do they run?
Oh, it's legendary, the 57 number here at the zoo.
But now I ask the question: do you take out the pole-sitting sled?
I think that's what they'll do. That's my prediction here on that. What do you think, Spank?
I'm almost thinking that maybe they got 2 setups going there. They'll keep that set in case somebody threatens that number 51 on the pole. They'll have that sled ready to go with the race setup. That's maybe why that sled did not make the track. And then they may be putting in the race setup in that 57. I mean, that team is going to, if it stays as it is, if nobody knocks them off the point, that team's going to get the pole award here. So I would think they got one set up on kill, and then they got the other one maybe just experimenting for Saturday. And that's, I think you'll see the riders, obviously, they'll scratch one sled and jump on that sled.
Yep. And it in my, like I say, the 57 there, there's kind of a good luck charm for them. I think that number, they won a lot of big races, and I know for me, I'd have to stick with my number and scratch the other one.
I'd almost think that if Zach DeWald goes out there and say he runs a faster time than that 39-second run that's currently on the board for James Hicks, then you might see Hicks get on that sled and come out and try to grab that. They're certainly want one of their riders to get the pole and give them both a chance to do it.
It's not like that the 57 machine that DeWald rode yesterday is far back of the 51. It's only 0.181 seconds back.
Yes. So
but this is the amazing thing, though. Zach DeWald's time of 39.396 is almost 9/10 of a second quicker than his dad, Troy DeWald, who is third quick at a 40.282.
Zach DeWald ran, what would he run, a 42nd in that round number 3. It was a 40-second run. So, like you say, Matt, they're not that far apart. So, I think you're going to see that 57 in round 4, and, can he knock off his teammate off the pole position? We'll have to wait and see. It looked like that Cataract collision, Artie Cat, maybe, is maybe almost conceded, and maybe put in a race setup on there as they were a little bit slower in that round.
Yeah, I got to agree with you, Spanky. I think they're focusing on the 500 mile.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to run down the schedule for you. Our next on-track item on the docket is set for 3 p.m., about an hour and 18 minutes away. So we're going to step aside for lunch. Matt Smith is cheering that on, our FloRacing broadcast producer. That's coming up next. That's going to be at 3 p.m. Meyer Pro Shootout final round qualifying. Right after that, at 5 p.m., it is final round. Parker Ace Hardware, Sioux I-500 pole qualifying, where we will determine the winner of the 56th running of the International 500 Snowmobile Race Pole Award. That's coming up at 5 p.m. Then we're going to have, that's going to come up at 6 p.m. We backtracked a little bit. 5 o'clock is the final rookie practice, or rookie roundup. That's at 5 p.m. Then Parker Ace Hardware, Sioux I-500 pole qualifying, final rounds at 6 p.m. At 7:45 p.m., Spanky Robinson will talk to the 56th running of the International 500 Snowmobile Race Pole Award winner on the front stretch at 7:45 p.m. Then we have pre-race ceremonies, invocation, the national anthems. We begin racing tonight at 8 p.m. with Meyer Pro Shootout 4. We thank you for tuning in on FloRacing. We're going to come back at 3 o'clock. For those of you on property, make sure to grab yourself your 56th running of the International 500 Snowmobile Race apparel, located down at the apparel trailer in front of us here at the Lock City Home Center Press Center. Enjoy the amenities, take in the surroundings here on the legendary 1 mile high banked ice oval here in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, the Sioux I-500 racetrack. We're going to step aside.